Oh, hell no. Paul Pierce packing the air isn't gas or what? Paul Pierce would still be hired by ESPN if y'all ain't gas him up. Now, reportedly, ESPN has parted ways with Paul Pierce effective immediately, and we know exactly why. The Henny started to flow, the truth started telling the truth, and everything went completely downhill from that. Now, one thing that I do want to make very clear to you guys, Paul Pierce didn't break any laws. Paul Pierce didn't necessarily do anything too heinous, and I even want to go as far as to point out that NBA players and NFL players, they are in this particular situation literally probably like once a week at least. The difference is that Paul Pierce actually works for ESPN, which is like the cookie cutter sports network. They have to keep everything buttoned up, and Paul Pierce went live. A lot of players, 99% of the players, do not publicize their recreational activities. Paul Pierce, again, a retired player, works for ESPN, decides to publicize his recreational activities. Again, the truth started telling the truth, and everything went completely downhill. Now, here's the thing. ESPN, they were really thinking about this decision. Of course, the live went up with Paul Pierce a couple of days ago. ESPN could have fired the truth on the spot, but they didn't do that. Here's the thing. ESPN started to catch a lot of backlash. And to be honest, it wasn't even all Paul Pierce's fault. But here's the thing. Rachel Nichols started to trend on Twitter. And it wasn't because of her stellar basketball analysis. She started to trend on Twitter because people were wondering if Paul Pierce is going to get Rachel Nichols on the IG Live to start twerking. This right here had to be one of the worst situations Paul Pierce could have found himself in the last decade. Of course, on the other end of LeBron James basically destroying their quote-unquote big three. But regardless, in this particular situation, it basically seemed like Paul Pierce was making ESPN, the overall brand, look absolutely terrible, look absolutely misogynistic. And of course, if they were standing by Paul Pierce in this particular situation, they would have caught a whole bunch of backlash from the women viewers and of course even men viewers that basically understood that women have to have a correct voice in this society. And you just knew that this was going to be a problem when ESPN reporter Jenna Lane basically came out and started to defend Rachel Nichols because she was trending on Twitter for this exact situation. I knew this right here wasn't necessarily going to end the best way for Paul Pierce, but I'm going to tell you guys right now, Paul Pierce seems to be doing absolutely just fine, and in fact, I believe he will be doing just fine. Let's be honest, Paul Pierce right now is a millionaire. Being fired from ESPN isn't going to hurt Paul Pierce's pockets at all. In fact, I believe that Paul Pierce is most likely going to get hired by another organization within the year. I wouldn't be surprised if he's picked up by Fox Sports 1, and even the bottom of the barrel, he possibly go to NBA TV. Don't get me wrong, that's a wonderful network, but of course, Fox Sports 1 is throwing out that bag. And don't be surprised if Paul Pierce turns to Larry Fitzgerald. Now, Paul Pierce out here putting up very cryptic messages. Now, I don't know exactly what Paul Pierce is talking about because as we do know, he is the truth. And once the truth starts telling the truth, people start getting fired, as we've seen from this Instagram live. Now, he posted on Instagram, he posted an Instagram story, and he basically captured it with #smile. Now, that right there was extremely cryptic, but he came out with an even more cryptic message. He posted a tweet with the same picture that he posted on Instagram, but in the caption, he says, "Big things coming soon. Stay tuned. Make sure you smile. #the truth shall set you free." Now, again, if the truth start telling the truth about a lot of the back dealings in the ESPN, I have absolutely no doubt that he could potentially take down possibly even 15% of that organization. But even though Paul Pierce is being super cryptic, I highly doubt a situation like that is going to arise. I believe that Paul Pierce right now is just chilling. He's staying cool, and he understands that he could potentially get it back from a podcast deal. He could potentially get it back from Fox Sports 1. He could potentially get it back from a whole bunch of other organizations. The big thing about Paul Pierce is that he basically established himself as an actual speaking head, as an actual TV commentator because of the terrible trash takes that he's been given. People just want to see what Paul Pierce has to say, and especially after this fiasco, when the Henny started flowing and the truth started to tell the truth, people now is tuned into Paul Pierce. And again, Paul Pierce is going to be just fine. Now, I can't stress this enough. What Paul Pierce did, it isn't necessarily anything too much out of the ordinary, but because he was working for ESPN, this right here had to be taken seriously. In fact, let's just name a player like Lou Williams. Lou Williams is literally a legendary figure, and I'm not only talking about because of the lemon pepper wings and the bubble fiasco. I'm talking about even before that. Lou Williams has literally been legendary in Atlanta, and I'm not talking about for basketball. James Harden too. But again, one thing that we do know for sure is that this is not going to be the end of Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce, I'm not going to lie to you guys, he's been taking L after L after L, and this right here might be a situation where you get to see a complete 180 and Paul Pierce starts to take a bunch of W's. But let me know what you guys think about this situation in the comment section below. Do you guys think that ESPN was actually justified in firing Paul Pierce? And if not, let me know why. But it's been your boy, And we out.